Well, croeso to Wrexham News. I'm Councillor Carrie Harper.
I'm Councillor Marc Jones.
And over December, we're going to be focusing on a really important issue. We're going to be focusing on mental health and wellbeing here in North East Wales. And today we're joined by Lorissa Roberts from Advanced Brighter Futures. And Advanced Brighter Futures is a mental health charity that's been supporting people across Wrecsam and Flintshire now for more than 30 years, isn't it? I think that's right.
That is right, yeah.
Yeah.
1992 it was first founded.
Amazing. And your work covers everything from suicide prevention to supporting new parents as well. But put that in your own words, what is the core mission for Advanced Brighter Futures?
I suppose the dream for me is that I could pick up the phone and say, you're a human, you're struggling with your mental health, we can help you. That's the dream. But in reality, with funding, it has to be more focused on Wrecsam and Flintshire. We've only got one project running in Flintshire at the moment, so a lot of our projects are Wrexham based. It's mainly focused at adults and families, and there's a range of one-to-one support, group support. Like you said, the suicide prevention training's been a big focus this year because we had the Baton of Hope event come to Wrexham as well, which we were the lead charity.
Baton of Hope event?
So it's an initiative. It's the largest UK initiative on suicide prevention. It's founded originally by two dads that had lost a child to suicide. The baton is this amazing thing. It looks like an Olympic torch, but it's not a torch, it's just a baton. But it's, I think it's created by the same jeweller that did jewellery for the Queen. Wow. So it's an impressive thing, and it's got everything about it. It's got meaning on it as well. But the baton gets carried across the UK, so it's been in Scotland, Northern Ireland, England. We represented Wales here in Wrexham on the 4th of October. So it's gone on, I think it was 20 something locations, and the finale was in London. And it's all about what it says, really, spreading hope around suicide prevention. And each location did their own sort of events around it when it was in their town or city. And it was an amazing, I'm biased because we were the lead charity partner, but it was an amazing event.
And how things changed over those, you've been involved for 15 years. I know how things changed since you've been involved, and perhaps in the 30 years that Advanced Brighter Future has been active locally. I should also declare an interest because I'm a trustee at Advanced Brighter Futures, but I don't do half as much work as people like you do.
Well, I think you're doing yourself down there, Marc. But I'll tell you a bit about the changes. So Advanced Brighter Futures was founded by 6 individuals. 3 were professionals, one of which Rosemary, who's a founding member, and 3 were people who used the services, which was quite unusual at the time. You hear a lot about sort of people with lived experience shaping services. Co-production's been the latest buzzword, hasn't it? But we were doing that in 1992. So we got a small pot of funding to it was called Service User Involvement. It was all about advocacy, self-advocacy, people having a voice in the services and care that they received. And that has kept like a bit of a pillar in everything that we've done since. But things have changed, different funding, different services. When I started 15 years ago, there was a lot of sort of like drop-in support that was sort of on the change as I joined. And things were much more sort of focused on sort of recovery and moving forward, and it was thought that drop-in services were sort of holding people back in a way. People were getting quite like stagnant and dependent, all these horrible words that got used around drop-ins. I think since I've been involved, I think the Health Board's been in special measures for nearly all of those years. I think it come out for a little possibly political year or so.
Can't say things like that.
I can't though. I don't know why, but
I can.
you
I
can.
think you're pretty bang on the money there.
Yeah, well, it didn't feel to me that it got to a place where it warranted coming out of special measures, and it seems I was right because it went back in, didn't it? So yeah, we've had different sort of experiences through the years of working with people. Obviously, COVID, the cost of living has had a massive impact in recent years, so it's got a lot more difficult for people. You know, the stories that we hear are a lot more people in crisis now, a lot more people struggling. The demand has really increased for support and people who will listen. I know that sounds something that's so simple. It's something we can all do. We've all got 2 ears, but people are not feeling listened to, which is quite sad, really, isn't it? I think it's the fundamental thing that you can do to support someone's mental health is to listen.
In terms of suicide prevention, then, what does practical support look like on the ground, sort of day to day?
I mean, there's not a lot that is specifically focused on suicide prevention. At Advanced Bright Futures, we do a lot of sort of training and stuff. We have done for many years. I think probably I've been a suicide intervention trainer for about 11, 12 years. So we've done it a long time at Advanced Bright Futures. But in terms of an actual support for people who are in crisis, there's very limited things that people can access, really. There's within A&E, there's the psychiatric liaison team. There is the duty team to phone if you're under the community mental health team, but that's overrun, so people don't often get the support they're expecting from phoning the duty team. The introduction of the 111+2 has been really welcomed. Mixed sort of feedback from people I spoke to who've used it.
What's that,
So, you know, you can phone 111 instead of 999 for support with any sort of medical.
Yeah.
There's an option 2 for mental health specific support. So you can press option 2 and you'll speak to people who are trained in mental health support. And it does get logged and passed to the mental health teams if it's appropriate to be passed on. So that's been, you know, a good addition, I think. Like I said, mixed responses. Some people have found it really helpful. Some people have perhaps not found it as helpful, but you get that with anything, I suppose, don't you? But yeah, that's the kind of guidance that you get, is to phone 111+2, or if you're under the mental health team, the duty team, or to take yourself to A&E if you're not feeling safe. There's loads of great online resources as well, and there's a great app called Stay Alive that I would encourage people to get as well.
Is that as good as a, you know, that one-to-one, that actually looking somebody in the face thing? You know, I know it works better for some people, especially perhaps a generation that's grown up online.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there's nothing better than looking at somebody face to face and knowing that they're listening, or knowing that they're there for you, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is a sign of the times, really, about how communities are broken down in general, isn't it, really? I think I've always said at Advanced Bright Futures, what most of the people need who come to us is a good friend. You know.
It's a really sad thing to say, isn't it?
I mean, it is. I mean, there's been lots of cases where that has sort of been proven wrong for myself as well. We did some research ourselves where we were contacting all the people and doing sort of retrospective sort of feedback. So people who'd been maybe 6 months ago, and we spoke to everyone who'd been accessing our services around that time. And there was one lady who challenged that view really well, actually, because when I answered the phone, there was nobody who was doing that work around, and I knew where the questions were and stuff, so I thought, I'll just do it. And yeah, it was really powerful, because some of the questions, it was all about social value and demonstrating so return on investment and all that sort of thing. So the questions were quite specific, and it was all about, how do we demonstrate the work that we do at Advanced Bright Futures is what changes, makes the change for people, not other things that are going on in their lives. So I asked her about her support network, this lady, and she said, I've got really good friends, she said, and I've got brilliant family, really supportive, absolutely amazing. And she said it was absolutely the work that I had done with me in advance Bright Futures, the support I got that made the change, because I couldn't do anything. I had the 6 months before I came to Advanced Bright Futures, I struggled the whole time, and I had all that support. So it was what we did at Advanced Bright Futures that made the difference. So there's going to be a big range in sort of when people need support, what their life situations are, and what's going to work for them. And I think, Advanced Bright Futures, we cover a wide range of that. So when I say, what I think a lot of people need is a good friend, there's some people that challenge that as well. So it's not as simple as that. And mental health isn't simple, is it? It's a complex area. So
You do a lot of work with young parents as well. So what would you say are some of the key mental health issues facing new mums and dads?
Okay, so it's an interesting one. So I think young parents have become sort of like the unusuals, if you see what I mean. So now we see a lot of older parents, and that's become like the trend. So a lot of older parents are, we do see a lot of older parents. So actually when we see the younger parents, they feel out of place because there's most of the groups they go to are older parents, if they get to go to groups, if they can afford to go to groups and things like that. So there's a lot of challenges for young people. So I think everything's stacked against young people, if I'm honest. And I think, we perhaps need some targeted work with young parents to balance that out. I think I called all groups magical, I do, because you get some people, again, it's that sort of perception. And I said about the good friend, and then actually she had loads of friends. Well, we think, well, should we do targeted work at young parents because they'll feel more comfortable and more like less alone? But actually what they'll get from the other people in the group, there's like this ordinary magic that happens in groups where they all start supporting each other, and they all bring different things to the group. So actually having a really diverse group, I think, makes it even more magical. But again, there's different things that'll suit different people and work for different people. So you've got to offer different things, haven't you?
Yeah. Talk again about the span of the work you've done. How have certain things escalated, have certain things got better? But generally, talk us through how you found things developing in mental health.
It kind of goes with sort of like how funding cycles go as well, doesn't it? So it's difficult to say whether those have always followed the patterns that we've seen. They don't always, and often they're quite behind, aren't they? So it's difficult. We'll see trends, and then the funding will follow perhaps when it's too late, really. I'd say the last couple of years as people have come in crisis a lot more than ever before. It's difficult to pinpoint exactly what it is, whether it's off the back of COVID or cost of living, but we've certainly seen it where people were telling us they felt like we were the only ones that were listening, we're the only support that they were getting, which put a huge pressure on our staff, really. It was a big challenge for us because we hadn't set up the support for our staff to be dealing with people in crisis.
On that scale,
we do the training and stuff, but it changed from sort of like quite a rare occurrence to be me hearing, an escalated concern from staff from maybe 2 or 3 times a year to once a week at least. At one point.
That's a lot of work for a small charity, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
How do you manage the well-being of your own staff in that scenario? Because that's really high pressure work as well. Obviously.
Yeah, we've got a clinical supervisor within our team of staff. So we'd offered sessions with them, like kind of debrief. Well, we had immediate debrief sessions with the management staff, so that they, could speak to somebody, debrief from any situation, but also offered those clinical supervision. But, there was an additional cost to that we haven't, it doesn't get added in the funds that we get. And, those donations and stuff that you get from individuals or that aren't attached to any sort of grant agreements, that they're not many. You can't stretch that very far, and I understand why a lot of charities are struggling, because those that have depended on those individual donations, people haven't got money to donate anymore, have they? So it's charities have been hit on every angle, I think.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to make the plea or the advocacy for the smaller charities, because I think people would tend to think, well, the health board is there to do all these things, but quite often the health board is this clunky, unwieldy organisation that perhaps hasn't got your agility.
Yeah.
And I would make the case that it's in some circumstances that agility means you can respond more quickly, and you can sort of adapt your ways. You might test something, it doesn't work, so you adapt your ways rather than ploughing on. So is that a fair comment?
I think so, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's the value of small charities, and they listen as well, listen to the people, and you see those things when people do reviews and it's like, you said we did. It's like, well, we don't have time to put a you said we did because we're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, quite makes a difference.
Yeah.
I guess making the difference is what it's all about.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And and it is the small things that make a big difference, and small charities that make a big difference. So it makes sense, doesn't it, when you think about it?
So if you had unlimited resources, let's say, what is the one thing that you'd want to see the charity do going forward?
Well, there'd be more than one thing if we were unlimited resources, yeah. I'd love to see better communication between local authority, health, and the third sector. I think it would make we're all trying to help the same people, really, in different ways, ways that complement each other, or should complement each other. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a mechanism where that is created, because we could do so much together. Then,
what do you think that mechanism is? What's missing then?
I think it is some sort of coordinator. I think what's always happened in the past, CVCs have been hammered, so that have been historically, the third sector's voice has been through CVCs, but they've had massive funding.
Just explain what a CVC is, just for people.
So what is it?
Is that a vow?
It's a vow in Wrecsam, yeah. So it's an we have one in every county across North Wales. A vow's the Wrecsam one, and they have sort of like members, so organisations, charities will be members to a vow, and they're set up to coordinate that voice of the third sector, really, and support the third sector in areas they need support. But over the years, they've had funding issues as well, and it's not really running how it should. So
the coordination isn't funded enough. Basically.
No, it's not funded enough. We did have Untlice in North Wales as well, which were an organisation set up similar, but just for mental health. And also a lot of their work was listening to individuals receiving services, people with mental illness, living with mental illness. And they had their funding withdrawn as well. So they don't exist anymore. So that was a loss for us as well. But there's been also pockets where health, BCU have tried to set up sort of forums and things like that, but it's always they're stretched as well. So there's always been, they'll provide, someone maybe to do the minutes, maybe someone to chair it, but the actions can't be taken forward because they've got a full-time job doing something else. So it needs to be invested in someone to actually coordinate that communication, take actions forward, and make sure it happens.
That's really interesting. That's useful to understand. Definitely.
It's not a big ask either, is it?
Well, not really. Just give us someone and keep them in post more than 6 months.
Yeah. Okay. And that just to close it up, that fits in with my idea, our idea of a preventative agenda as well. You don't want to be dragging people out the river. You want to stop them falling in the first place. And that to me is what ABF can do.
It is absolutely what ABF can do, and the wider third sector as well, because that's what they're brilliant at. They're on the ground. They're talking to people before it gets worse. So I think that is absolutely key. And I think where health have gone wrong in the past is they've thought that and thought, oh, what a good idea, which it is, but then instead of sort of seeing, well, who can help with that, and looking at the third sector and coordinating a strategic approach to it, they've gone, well, let's train all our specialist staff in stuff that the third sector could do, and then they're spending their time doing that instead of them getting on with the bits that they are brilliant at, and us the bits that we're brilliant at, on working alongside each other. It ended up at different points in time of duplication, I think, which then made it more difficult for us as a charity to bring in money, because that's the first question you get. Well, if the health board's doing that, we can't fund it, or so there needs to be a coordinated approach. A lot for some of the years, quite a lot in recent times, I felt like I wrote ABF's business plan blind, because I've not really known what others are doing.
It sounds like there's a route through there, though. That's the positive to take out of it, isn't it?
Yeah, and like you said, a simple one, really.
Yeah.
Although who does get communication right? Nobody, I don't think.
We do. Sometimes.
So if people want to get in touch with Advanced Brighter Futures, then what is the best way to contact you? Where can they find you?
Okay, so we have created a button on our website that says register. It's a short, simple form that people can fill in.
Yeah.
Also, professionals can use it, so there's an option to put, or friends and family actually, there's an option to put, I'm filling this form on behalf of somebody else, or you're filling it in yourself, and then it captures the details. That comes through, and then we've got an amazing member of staff, Dylan, who, when he receives that, and within, I said in staff meeting, within hours they'll get a response. He's get minutes. Minutes, he said. So
setting the bar high there.
He set the bar high. So there is a quick response to that, which is a link to book yourself in for a chat with us.
Yeah.
If anybody struggles with filling the form out themselves, or really doesn't want the chat to be over the phone, they can just email or phone us, or respond to the text that Dylan sends out, and we can arrange that. There's that flexibility there if people, because there's some people who are not wanting to use a booking link and click things like that, isn't there? So it's hopefully it's quite accessible and simple for everyone.
Okay, well, Diolch yn fawr iawn, Lorissa, thanks very much for coming in to talk to us.
Thank you very much, Diolch.